Last two questions are challenging and they're both going to be in geometry. Well, 11 is in trigonometry, I think, which is like a advanced geometry idea, right? But let's just take it one step at a time. When I'm reading this, I'm going to unpack the information by labeling all of the numbers that they give me onto the figure. And that way I can see everything on the figure and I don't have to continually reread the question. So it says here that EH is 16. HF is 8. I can see like right here, this is going to be 24. And it says that the cosine of E is 4 over 5. Remember, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. This is a formula that you're going to have memorized. The cosine of E. So what's adjacent to E is that 16. And the hypotenuse, I don't know what that is. But I do know that the cosine is 4 to 5. So I like to think of this as 4x and 5x. Right here, the 16 is equal to 4x, and I know this side is 5x. Well, I can tell by looking. I'm not even going to write it out. I can tell that x is 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. And if x is 4, then down here, 5 times 4 is going to be 20. So I figured out the hypotenuse using the cosine, but I did have to kind of, you could have also done it as a proportion. I just did it by putting an x right here on the figure. Okay. And the question is, what is the length of FG? Well, one thing I can tell you as soon as I see this figure is that we have two similar triangles. We have like the smaller triangle. I think of this as like the tip of the iceberg, and we have the entire iceberg, right? The big triangle. Whenever you have that situation and you know that these bases are parallel, which they are, we know that because of the right angles here, we can be absolutely sure that these triangles are similar. If you were in geometry class, your geometry teacher would probably have you prove that using like the AA theorem or something. I don't want you doing any proofs on the SAT. I want you to remember that when you have this arrangement of two triangles, where one is sort of like the tip of the bigger triangle and you know the bases are parallel, just assume that these are similar triangles. You'll be right every time. And we not only have similar triangles, but we have similar right triangles because I see that we have the 90-degree angle symbol in both of these corners here, and that's important. It means I can use the Pythagorean theorem. And so I've got 16 and 20. If you want, you could do, like to find HI, you could do 16 squared plus HI squared equals 20 squared and pull out your calculator and you can solve that. I'm going to do it even faster. I'm going to use what's called the 3-4-5 Pythagorean triple. When you have sides of a triangle that are in the ratio 4 to 5, with 5 being the hypotenuse of the right triangle, you know that that third side is going to be a multiple of 3. So if this is 4 times 4 and that's 5 times 4, I know this is going to be 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So I figured that out using Pythagorean triples. Now I just have to figure out the FG. That's the final question. Well, I can now compare, let's see, the 16 I'm going to compare to the 24. Right, we've got a tip of the triangle number and the whole triangle number. Don't use that 8. We used 8 to figure out 24. But when we write the proportion, we're going to use the 24, not the 8, because we're comparing it to the whole triangle. And that would be in proportion to how 12 compares to this question mark. Maybe you can kind of see it intuitively. If you can, excellent. If not, just set up a proportion. 16 over 24 equals 12 over the question mark. And I'm going to solve this actually by reducing the fraction. You can cross multiply right away if you can use your calculator. I prefer to do it without my calculator. So I'm going to reduce that. That's 2 over 3 equals 12 over question mark. And now I can see right away that 2 times 6 is 12. So 3 times 6 will give me my answer. My answer is going to be 18. If you want to use cross multiplication, if that's feels a little more comfortable for you, absolutely, that as long as you get 18, I'm happy with how you did it. All right, so we're gonna fill in 18 on top, fill in the bubbles below. Look over the question one more time to make sure you didn't miss anything, but we do have our correct answer here, 18.